Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Saturday, November 15th. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and Ryan Robinson back with us, as he often is on Saturdays, breaking down a 13-game Saturday NHL slate. A huge card coming up later today. All the games are later, though, today. There are no early afternoon NHL matchups today, but a huge card, mostly evening-based, coming up on this Saturday, so we'll break those games down in just a bit. But first, we'll look back on what was a very busy, not a busy Friday, only 4 games, but a very solid Friday of NHL action. And after what we saw yesterday with not 1, not 2, not 3, but all 4 NHL games cashing the draw and going past regulation, it would have been sacrilege for me to not rock this shirt today on the Ice Guys show. Had to wear it. Absolute must to be rocking the draw season shirt today on the show after what we saw yesterday. Just wow. And look, I was only on 2 of the 4 draws that occurred yesterday in the NHL, but it started with Pittsburgh and Nashville over in Stockholm, Sweden, the first of 2 games that those teams will play back-to-back over at Avicii Arena in Sweden. And it was Pittsburgh getting a bit of a fluke bounce goal that Evgeny Malkin was given credit for to give them a 1-0 lead, and pretty much rode that 1-0 lead right into the late stages of the third period, when all of a sudden Nashville ties it in the final minute. And almost poetic, Philip Forsberg in front of his home country and the fans in Sweden scoring the tying goal. And then Nashville gets the overtime winner courtesy of Steven Stamkos for a 2-1 win against Pittsburgh, almost like they stole victory in that game. Did the Nashville Predators, trailing most of the way, and then absolutely finding a way to win at the end, 2-1 in overtime. But a nice win for Nashville. They will play again Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern time against one another in Stockholm, Sweden. And then in the night action, we saw obviously Vancouver, Carolina. I'll give Vancouver credit. A lot of injuries. But they hung in there with Carolina, were toe-to-toe with them for most of that game. In fact, they led more of the game than Carolina did, but it was Carolina finding a way, tying the game on a Taylor Hall shorthanded goal, and then it was obviously Carolina getting the overtime winner on a rocket of a shot by Sebastian Aho for the 4-3 win in overtime against the Vancouver Canucks last night. Great result for me. We had the over and the Carolina team total over, which cashed with that overtime goal. So a 2-0 sweep. Best bet for the show was that Canes team total. So it was very good to hit that. We also had, of course, St. Louis and Philly. And so we had 2 games go to the draw: Pittsburgh, Nashville, Vancouver, Carolina. And those are the two games I did not bet the draw. And so Philly, St. Louis is 3-3 after the second period. And St. Louis erupts for 2 goals early in the third. By the way, it was a horrible night for Samuel Ersson. He was not very good in net for the Flyers. 5-3 St. Louis. I'm like, are you kidding me? He had 2 draws already. I wasn't on either one of them. And now it's 5-3 St. Louis, and the one I really loved, Flyers and Blues, is not going to cash now. But sure enough, never say never. Philadelphia responds with a couple of goals later on in the third period to tie it 5-5. And again, we get the draw there. That was Alex's best bet on the show yesterday. The Flyers Blues draw at plus 340. I was on that as well. So just when you think it's not, you're ready to lose hope, and the Flyers ended up tying it 5-5, and then they win it in a shootout. What a win for the Flyers. They didn't get great goaltending last night. St. Louis, it looked like, was one step ahead of them most of the game, but finding a way to win is what they were able to do. And what they did. So credit to the Philadelphia Flyers. Real gutsy win. Many times they could have said it's not our night, but they kept coming back, and they eventually win 6-5 in a shootout. And you talk about gutsy wins. How about the New York Islanders? Are you kidding? You just won in Vegas in overtime the previous night. You get in late to Salt Lake City, Utah. It's back-to-back in thin air and altitude. Mammoth have been great on home ice all year. And after a 2-1 deficit in the first period, you find a way to rally the troops, get the game tied, and then Matthew Schaefer, man, this guy is just unfrickin' real what he is doing as an NHL defenseman at 18 years of age. I mean, it's ridiculous the start to the year he's having. He's now leading the NHL in goals for a defenseman with the overtime winner on that one-time blast last night in overtime to beat Utah 3-2 in overtime in that game. Incredible stuff from this kid, and he's the entire package. Like, he can skate, he can obviously shoot the puck. He's a much more adept defensive player as a defenseman for 18 years old, wise beyond his years. He's got charisma and personality oozing out of him, as we see in every interview he seems to do these days. He's something else. He's got that superstar. Everything about him screams superstar in this league right now. And I know we're only a month into his career, and he's still only 18 years old, but that's the scary part. How is he going to be when he's 20, 21, 22, and the prime years start to arrive? How good could this guy be? I mean, just incredible. And he gets the overtime winner. And how about this Islanders team reeling off a nice win streak, feeling good, playing good hockey right now? And Matthew Schaefer, obviously a big part of it, no question. Alex, what are your thoughts on what we saw on Friday?
I mean, it was a work of art, honestly, to see all 4 games go past the regulation. It first time that this has happened where you've had more than a schedule more than 4 games and all the games go past regulation, and people, like I said, the naysayers don't have much to say now about draw season. When you're talking about percentages now, 27.7% for the entire season. 34 of the 105 games that have been played just this month alone. That's 32.3% games going past regulation. Even if you're just sprinkling $5 on these plays, a couple of bucks. I've seen some people who literally been parlaying cents, change, rounding off, and that's a thing that I think all of us kind of do sometimes. We just round off something. We'll throw a little parlay for $1.25. Instead of throwing it on a 16, 17 parlay, put it on a draw. Just bet 1 or 2 of them if you haven't been betting these, and watch the plus 300s, plus 325s, plus 340, 350 prices come in while they're still around. Because at this point now, when you talk about 27 to 32%, the books are going to have to start making adjustments, and we're going to have to find ways to play things, and we're going to have to take what the books give us. Last night, I actually grabbed the live draw with the Isles and Utah at plus 280. Once I saw the other 3 games go past regulation, I said, let's just jump in on this and see where it goes. And we end up cashing that. But plus 280, plus 290 might end up being the norm, especially when you start seeing these teams that consistently go into overtime. So it's important to have multiple outs where you can bet these. Probably have to start looking at, the caveat that I've always, had been given out with the beginning of draw season. This had tapered off for a while, but I have noticed that a couple of books like Caesars, you've seen differences where the yes-no prop on overtime is a different price than the draw price. And in saying that, you may find better value in one spot or the other. It's not necessarily that they're just ripping you off with the yes-no prop like it used to be. I've seen where the yes prop actually is worth more than the draw on the 3-way line. So please shop around and look for that. And that's going to become more and more imperative as this trend continues to grow. We start seeing this continue at this 25, 27, 30% clip. Those prices are going to be adjusted, and you got to make sure that you're getting the best of the number.
We're all excited about cashing all these draw bets right now. I'm worried that adjustment is coming. We're not going to be guaranteed to get plus 300 or better prices with the draw indefinitely moving forward. We might get the days where plus 260, plus 275 becomes the new norm with the draw prices. I don't think they've caught on just yet, because even at FanDuel and DraftKings yesterday, you're still getting 340s, 350s with a lot of these draws. So we really have not seen that adjustment yet, but you got to think at some point, unless these guys are all in a coma, odds makers, that you got to realize that it's just an unprecedented season in the National Hockey League so far of number of games going to overtime, that you got to adjust the draw bet prices, at some point. But as of now, they haven't. So now's the time to continue to take advantage. Again, I know Jonathan's taken the approach right now, and I'll rhyme off the numbers too that he posted in the chat. It is just insane. But, he's betting every draw right now. I'm not going quite that
I'm
far.
not doing that either. But
I'm not going that much into it. We're just blindly betting the draw in every game. But no doubt, when the draw indicators are there, we on certain teams in certain games where current form, they've gone to overtime a lot, and also head to head, they've gone to overtime a lot. If the draw indicators are there, we're not hesitating to bet draws right now.
Right.
That is for sure. But yeah, the numbers are 34 of 105 games in November. Past regulation, you'd be up 39.5 units betting every draw in the month of November. Pretty crazy.
And we mentioned it on Wednesday with a 4-game card. We said that card looked like it was a decent one to maybe take a shot with all 4 draws. And some people listened last night, parlayed them, or like I said, round robin them. Like I said, if you're playing these at small amounts, okay, the unit size when you're hitting it at this kind of a clip, you can be playing these at the smallest units possible and still getting a decent return. So it's something worth looking at right now. Like I said, it's not going to last. Probably not going to last throughout the end of this month. But with this run over the last week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, it's been something significant and definitely something you shouldn't be shying away from.
No doubt. Brian, anything you want to add to what we saw on Friday?
Yeah, no, I didn't have much yesterday at all. I know there was only a few games, so obviously with 13 games today, there's a lot more options. But just like Alex touched on, the rate that these draws are coming in it's insane. I know when the whole draw season thing started, people were skeptical, but now you're really obviously seeing it pay off. So I think it's great finding those spots, picking those spots, plus 300, plus 325. It's just crazy good value for the amount of, overtime games we've seen so far. Maybe games you wouldn't even always expect. It just shows you how tight the league is right now, how many good teams there are. So not much yesterday, but excited for, obviously a big day of hockey today, a full day of hockey. So always love when there's 13 or more games. Gives us obviously more to, pick our spots, but just excited to, be on with you guys and jump into today's card.
No doubt, and that we will do right now with 13 games, starting with Tampa Bay, Florida. This is the first game at 5 p.m. Eastern. There's no early to mid-afternoon hockey today. First game, Tampa Bay, Florida, starting at 5 p.m. Eastern. We have Florida minus 135, home favorites, 5.5 the total, shaded to the over here in this game. Over 5.5 shaded. Some books have 6. So again, shop around. If you like the over, find the 5.5. If you like the under, find the 6. A lot of injuries for Tampa Bay, and we saw the injuries really show the other night when they got bombed 7-3 at home by the New York Rangers. Tons of injuries for this Lightning team. They haven't played since that loss. Certainly, I'm always leery of betting against Tampa Bay off the type of loss they had against the Rangers. Obviously, nobody was happy about it, but the injuries are a concern. And yeah, you're going to be motivated to bounce back, but if you're missing Victor Hedman again and you're already out McDonough, 2 of your more veteran defensemen, Brandon Hagel day-to-day, Anthony Cirelli, who also missed that game against the Rangers day-to-day, that's all concerning right now with all the manpower out of the lineup for John Cooper and his Tampa Bay Lightning team right now. The good news is Nick Paul might be back here for this game. He's been skating a little bit the last few days. He's the one that might be able to return tonight for the Lightning. But again, we haven't had an update on that just yet. This is definitely a check the Patreon page game for me. Patreon.com/Ice Guys, $10 per month. We'll have the betting card for the Saturday slate posted this afternoon on the Patreon page, sides, totals, player props. This is one I have to wait until we get lineup confirmations. I want to know who's in here for Tampa Bay. I have some mild interest in the Lightning, plus the price off the kind of blowout loss. I know Florida beat Washington, finally won 2 games in a row, coming back home from that West Coast trip, beating Vegas, and then returning home to beat Washington 6-3, and it was a pretty good performance. That being said, they did still get outshot 40-28. They did get a good performance from Daniil Tarasov, probably one of his better games that he's had since joining the Florida Panthers this season. You look at series history between these two teams, and Florida's had the better of it, certainly. 4 of the last 5 meetings they have won. Each of the last 3 have gone over the total, but those are all playoff games. Remember, the playoff series, regular season, it's been a bit of a different story as far as totals between these two teams. So, again, this is just a wait until I get the lineup news between these two teams. I kind of lean Tampa, and if a blowout loss in a spot like this, I'm always interested in a team like Tampa, but there's no chance I touch them if they're missing all the players they missed the other night against the New York Rangers. So this is a wait and see for me. Alex, what do you think here, Lightning Panthers?
This will more than likely end up being a pass for me from a betting perspective, but in no ways will I not be watching this game. And, it's funny, we talk about seeing two teams meet up for the first time since their previous playoff appearance. I'd rather this game look like something we saw on October 4th in the preseason than it did at any point during the postseason last year. That was absolutely fun to watch, a blast in the past. Obviously, it won't be a game like that. But in saying that, with how physical it is and how big this rivalry is, maybe some of those guys who are close to coming back don't come back for this game. Do you really want to risk a Nick Paul coming back in this first game, being this physical kind of a battle, and then he gets hurt again? Or some of these other guys on either side? So, like I said, this one you definitely would want to wait and see what the lineups are looking like, because as heated and spirited of a battle as this is, you may not want to risk having guys who are just getting healthy or on the verge of being healthy again, being in such a physical kind of a battle. So this one I'm going to pass from a betting perspective. There's other spots I like on the board. There should be some must-watch TV, especially early in the contest.
And another thing to keep in mind, too, with this game is that everyone in the chat's going to ask us every game now with what we saw last night, what we've seen all month with the draws. You like the draw? You like the draw? You like the draw here in this game? We can't bet the draw in every game. At least I can't. These two teams have not been draw magnets. Neither of them. There has not been a lot of overtime games lately for the Lightning or the Panthers. Not to mention head-to-head, there hasn't been a single overtime game, regular season or playoff meetings between these two teams. So, yeah, there's no draw bet for me here. Watch it go to overtime now after me saying that, but no, I'm not on the draw here. Ryan, anything you like here? Tampa, Florida.
Yeah, I do like Florida in this spot. I think Tampa's obviously missing some key players. So is Florida, but watching Tampa the last few games, I know they got stomped by New York. They just haven't really looked the same. Florida's at home. I don't know. It's just kind of I think it's a better spot for Florida here, and I don't really trust the Lightning. Obviously, Vasilevsky's been kind of inconsistent at times this year, and just overall, Tampa Bay hasn't really been the same. Obviously, when you're missing Hedman and McDonough, it makes a big difference. They get stuck in their zone a lot more. Breakout passes aren't as clean, and so I don't know. I just feel good about Florida here. I think minus 135 is a decent price, so I'm riding with the Panthers in this one.
All right, there we go. Again, I'm not going to look at the Tampa props until I know who's in the lineup and what the line combinations are. But Florida, Brad Marchand's been red hot. And Lundell and Luostarinen, that line has been reunited. So anyone on that line, I wouldn't argue with that for any Florida player props there. All right, Anaheim, Minnesota. Minnesota minus 135 home favorite, 6.5 the total. It's another one of those, Minnesota, you never know when their damn home games are going to start. Sometimes if we feel like at 2 p.m. Eastern, sometimes 3 p.m. Eastern, sometimes a little 5 p.m. Eastern game. Sometimes we'll go at 6 p.m. Eastern, and sometimes we'll just go as normal at 8 p.m. Eastern here at the Grand Casino Arena. Got to make sure we keep getting that right. We've got... We got Lukas Dostal. Well, nobody's confirmed yet, but Dostal and Gustafsson are the projections as far as goaltending here in this game. Now, I have some major concerns about schedule lately for Anaheim going into this game. They've played a lot of hockey in a short period of time. A lot of teams have, but especially Anaheim. And now they're starting to travel and get on this road trip, which began obviously earlier this week in Detroit. Where they lost, or actually in Colorado. Then they went east to Detroit. And then obviously after that, now here in Minnesota against the Minnesota Wild. And I think when you look at this situation here involving the Anaheim Ducks, that's my one concern. And also they've lost back-to-back games. And you know what that's like. You're on the heater of a lifetime. They had won 7 in a row. Everything they touched turned to gold, scoring goals left and right, getting saves, getting solid defense. Then you start to lose 2 in a row, and you start to, wonder if this is going to be the beginning of a slump here for the Anaheim Ducks. That being said, I still did bet Anaheim. It's not one of my bigger bets on Anaheim. I've had bigger bets than this on Anaheim. This is a smaller one. I am concerned about the number of games they've played. I'm concerned about the travel. I'm concerned about maybe this being the start of some regression and the start of a little bit of a swoon here for the Ducks. A little bit of a swoon anyway. But the fact remains, Minnesota is very untrustworthy at the moment. I mean, when you're losing games at home to the San Jose Sharks, and San Jose is playing better, don't get me wrong, but 2-1 loss in overtime to the Sharks there. You beat Calgary at home, big deal. You barely beat Nashville in overtime at home. You beat Vancouver at home. You know what I mean? I mean, the wins they've had just aren't that impressive. The best win they've had in their last 4 is the Islanders, who are actually starting to play some good hockey. But Calgary, Nashville, Vancouver, that's kind of a sisters of the poor trio of victories, if you ask me, for the Minnesota Wild. So I'm still going to take Anaheim at this price. Note my concern, though, about the schedule. Note my concern about the fact that maybe they're going to start getting into a little bit of a slump here. And note the fact that Minnesota has owned this team. 9-1 in the last 10 meetings over Anaheim. But I'm still going to grab Anaheim here, plus 115. Lean over as well, but I'm waiting for the goalies to be announced. Alex, what do you think here, Anaheim, Minnesota?
I grabbed plus 115 last night with Anaheim, and this is an old reference to the Sam Cooke song, "A Change is Going to Come" setup, where you have a team like Minnesota that had dominated this series for years after years after years. But keep in mind, talking about some really bad Ducks teams, some better Minnesota teams. There was at one point where these two were division rivals in that whole shortened season when everybody was kind of mixed up and it was American Canadian. And like I said, it was one-sided toward Minnesota. This is not Minnesota in good form. This is a fair price. At least we're seeing minus 135, not minus 185 or 195. With the Wild, the books have made the adjustment that this team doesn't play well at Grand Casino Arena like they used to do at XL Energy Center. So give me the Ducks here on the money line.
All right, there you go. Liking the Ducks here as well as Alex in this one. Ryan, anything here? Ducks, Wild.
I kind of lean the Ducks, but I don't have anything pregame in this one. Just don't really have a great read on it. I will be, looking live if the first period starts off slow, 1-0, 0-0, something like that, and the over drops down. I think obviously sometimes we see when there isn't much offense in the first period, the second period picks up. Obviously Anaheim's offense has been crazy. They can score goals. So this is one I'm staying off of pregame, but I am going to look for, a live spot. If it drops down to 4.5 or 5 range, I'll be jumping in on it.
All right. Good stuff there. As far as props for me in this game, when you look at, hold on, why am I seeing NBA? There we go. NHL on my prop sheet here. There we go. Got to get the right sport picked here. There we go. There are Matt Boldy's scored in back-to-back games for Minnesota. So if you're riding the goal streak, which often I like to do, you can take a Boldy there in that per the Minnesota Wild. Carlson talked about how great he's been with Terry and Kreider. Cutter Gauthier, always worth a look. So those are a couple of the props I'd look at for the Anaheim Ducks here in this game. Granlund just came back from injury, and so did Ryan Strome. So the good news is Anaheim started to get a couple of their pieces back with Granlund and Ryan Strome both returning from recent injury stints. So a little bit of a healthier group now up front are the Anaheim Ducks. And Radko Gudas is knocking on the door of returning as well. This is a guy that's been on IR all season. So we'll keep an eye and see if he's able to return to the lineup in the near future. All right, New York Rangers, Columbus Blue Jackets next up. We've got the New York Rangers minus 120 road favorites, 6.5 the total here in this game. Before we get into the Rangers and Blue Jackets, there was so much going on when the news came down Thursday, and we had a huge card, and it totally slipped my mind to bring this up, but we have to now. The passing of legendary hockey writer and beat reporter of the New York Rangers for 30, 40 years. So he was a beat writer and followed the Rangers. Larry Brooks, known as Brooksy, if you watched any of the legendary confrontations he had with John Tortorella back in the day. But everyone talking about how he was basically the measuring stick for future aspiring hockey writers in the business. Larry did it the right way. Larry didn't go behind a coach's back, a player's back, and write some bullshit and nonsense without, getting some kind of intel or okay from the player or the coach to go with it or run with it. And one thing about Larry is Larry would hold the players and the coaches accountable, but he would always be there every single day in the media scrum to talk to them, to ask questions, to interview the players, and the coach face to face. He was the ultimate professional at his craft. Ultimate professional. And that's the kind of beat writers and reporters we need more of. I find there's too many of these virtual reporters now. They think they can cover the team from the comfort of their own home. And I get it. COVID kind of changed things in that regard a little bit as far as that's concerned. But he was there every day in the stalls, in the dressing room, interviewing players. He was there every time the coach spoke, whether it was after practice, morning skate, post game, you name it. He absolutely took the job seriously, did it to the utmost professionalism, and did it to the best he could. And he is definitely someone that I know a lot of media folks that are getting into it, that have become beat writers and reporters the last 5-10 years have really followed the lead that Larry Brooks led. And even a guy like Steve Simmons, who's not my favorite, as you guys know, from the Toronto Sun, even he had some nice words to say about Larry Brooks, saying he was kind of someone that, I looked up to, and big loss in the hockey world, Giants. So, I've had my issues with Steve Simmons, but for him to post that on Twitter, that's a nice thing to say about Larry Brooks, and obviously someone that's in the same profession as him. So like I said, it's a big loss, and I know people are going to, unfortunately, you know what? People will always think of the Tortorella and him clashing. That's just the way it is. But we should shine the light on the fact that he was the utmost professional as a reporter, did the job the right way, didn't go behind players or coaches' backs. If he had something that he had a problem with the player or the coach, he'd say it right to them, like he would with Tortorella and those clashes he had with Torts back in the day. None of this go behind your back and and flap your gums and not do it face to face, to the person, to the individual that you're commenting about. That's professional. That's how you do it, folks. And Larry Brooks did it the right way, and for a very long time, as good as it gets. So big loss in the hockey media world. So rest in peace, Brooksy, Larry Brooks.
Yeah, very well said. And just to echo that statement, in a world where a lot of people, want to walk on eggshells and kind of tiptoe through things, he was someone who was a straight shooter, kept it straightforward, kept it 100, as the kids say today, and you admire that. And that's a quality that you don't have too often, especially in journalism and in sports journalism.
Yeah, I saw that video with John Tortorella.
It's not seen enough. So he would definitely be missed by the hockey world.
Yeah, no doubt. He absolutely will. There's no question. I did see the point with that ESPN hockey show they do where John Tortorella was in studio with Steve Levy, and they were talking about the passing of Brooks, and Torts couldn't have been any better with his remarks. Couldn't have been any better. And I love what he said about stop focusing on me and him going head to head back in the day. Focus on what a good man he was, good family man he was, and how great and professional at his job he was. And I like that he also, I don't think anyone that saw those thought for a second that John Tortorella had a personal vendetta against Brooks. I don't think anyone believed that. It was just and he said it in the remarks with Steve Levy. I'm protecting my hockey team. I'm trying to protect them and not let them come under scrutiny and criticism, especially publicly in the media. And Larry's just digging in his heels, just doing his friggin' job. And that's all it is. And it's two bulls, if you will, just standing their ground, really. And that's what led to those head-to-head confrontations. But he said, don't focus on that. Focus on the man Larry was, how he always gave his colleagues time of day, and I know there's she's doing a great job now covering the Rangers, Molly Walker, and she's talked about how Larry Brooks is like the ultimate teacher to her, getting into this business as a beat writer and reporter as well. So, like I said, it's a big loss for the hockey world. No question about that. Now, as far as the New York Rangers team is concerned tonight, is there a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel that we are starting to see here for the New York Rangers? And what I mean by that is, after slumping and not scoring goals and not winning on home ice in particular, we saw them erupt against Nashville for a big offensive performance in that game. Against the Predators. They go on the road. Now, it is a banged up and very ravaged Tampa team they beat the other night, but still a 7-3 win. You got to like the way the Ranger game is trending right now. We'll see if it can carry over to this game. We do have the goalies already confirmed, Igor Shesterkin, Jet Greaves, the goaltending matchup here in this game with the Rangers and the Blue Jackets. when you look at this game right now, Jenner's still out for Columbus. The Jackets, after a pretty disappointing road trip, although they did end it with a win against Seattle. They beat Edmonton 5-4 in their last game. We'll see if that success can carry over. This almost made the cut for a draw look for me. Almost did, because Columbus has played a couple of overtime games. There's other draws I like more. I might sprinkle on it just a little because of the high frequency we've had with games going past regulation. But, I do think this will be a pretty close game, pretty competitive game. Don't really want to step in front of the Rangers, but Nashville, bad team. Tampa banged up. Let's see them beat Columbus tonight. So not tonight with the Rangers. I'm going to probably pass on the side. As far as the total goes, Rangers are starting to score goals. I like the first period over here because the Ranger first period over streak is starting to kick up a little bit. They've been starting to cash some first period overs in recent games. May wait for a 5.5 if I can find one, rather than bet the pregame over here in this game. But like I said, I think right now what I'm looking at here more than anything is the first period over. Rangers 4 straight first period overs entering tonight. Alex, what do you think here? Rangers, Jackets.
This is an over trifecta, but I'm going to play 2 parts of it live. So we're going to go for both teams to score in the first period, plus 154 pregame. And then, like you said, look for that over 5.5. Look for a better price, hopefully plus money on that over 1.5 in the first period. Like I said, this was one that was kind of on the radar with the draw as well, but there are other spots that I like. So didn't take that pregame. May wait for that live, possibly too, if we're seeing the back and forth. Like I said, the way that the draws are hitting right now, I have no problems with certain games waiting and grabbing 240, 250, 280 in game if I'm seeing the pace slow down late and look like where it could be a game going to overtime.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing wrong with that. And like I said, there's been several. I remember, look at Anaheim. There were 2 games on Thursday, by the way. It was Anaheim-Detroit and Edmonton-Columbus. Anaheim-Detroit was scoreless after the first period. Edmonton-Columbus, I think, was 1-0 after the first period. So both of those games were trending under after the first period. You could have gotten a really good live number on the over. And you know what the final of scores of those games were? They flew over the total. 5-4 Columbus and 6-3 Detroit after slow starts in the first period. It's a perfect example. It's not always the worst idea to wait and get a better number live in game. Certainly you can take advantage in certain games such as those 2 that stand out clearly on Thursday night. Flew over the total but got off to really slow starts scoring-wise in the opening period. Ryan, what do you think here, Rangers, Jackets?
Yeah, I think this is another spot to kind of wait live, but I do lean the Rangers here. I think, they've looked better. Their offense is kind of starting to find its way. So definitely leaning New York here, but another game that I think there's, more plays out there and other games that I feel better about. So staying off of it right now, but I do lean with the Rangers.
All right, there we go. Good stuff. Prop-wise here in this game, I'm still going to, if he stays up on the top line, didn't score the other night, but, I thought his effort was better. Kent Johnson, Del Bel Belluz, Luca Del Bel Belluz, reminds me of Bell Biv DeVoe when I think of that guy's name. Luca Del Bel Belluz for the Columbus Blue Jackets up there on the top line. That player is poison. Luca Del Bel Belluz there for the Columbus Blue Jackets. There's definitely value because both of them are on the top line. Lafreniere starting to get going. Trocheck, by the way, Vincent Trocheck, since they got him back, that's really where this started to go out in a upward trajectory for the Rangers. Yes. Big difference maker now back in that second line center spot with Lafreniere and Panarin. And now you got Miller's Zibanejad and the youngster Gabe Perreault starting to get a little chemistry going. Obviously, Cooley's line has been very solid and steady all year. All of a sudden, you got 3 decent-looking lines now with a Vinny Trocheck back from injury, which you didn't really have before. So certainly that has played a role, in my opinion, in the better play from the New York Rangers here these last few games. All right, we continue along here on this Saturday NHL slate. And next up here on the card, we've got, just waiting for the window to refresh. There we go, Boston, Montreal. Original 6. We got 2 original 6 matchups on Hockey Night in Canada tonight. 2 of the 6 games on Hockey Night in Canada are original 6 games, which is great to see. Don't see that all the time. Boston, Montreal. Montreal minus 150, home favorites. The total here sitting at 6 shaded to the over, 6.5 in some spots. You guys know what we're doing here. First period over, full game over. Absolutely, 100%. 9 straight overs for Montreal. They're not quite the run that Toronto has had with overs, which is now 13 straight, but 9 straight overs for the Montreal Canadiens entering tonight. So we're just riding that. And you would think Montreal, now Montreal might be looking to bounce back defensively, but you could say they need to bounce back offensively too, because they've only scored 1 goal in their last 2 home games, and the losses to LA and Dallas. So the offense has kind of struggled a little bit. I think Montreal might be a good side here, and I'm going to take Montreal first period puck line for sure, and maybe look for a live, better money line price on the Montreal Canadiens as well. But I think the first period puck line, I will take a shot with that. I expect them to come out strong. This is now 2 eggs in a row they've laid on home ice against Dallas and LA. I think there's going to be that strong start, and I think Boston too. The come down possibly for the Bruins after that long win streak got snapped by the Ottawa Senators the other night. Maybe they start to go the other way a little bit. So I like Montreal first period puck line. I'll look for a live money line price with Montreal better than this if I see it. And first period over, full game over, and the draw. Have to sprinkle on the draw too, because Boston has certainly been one of those teams involved in a lot of tight games, 1-goal games, and overtime games of late. So a lot going on here. Draw, over by Fecta, and a Montreal first period puck line pregame sprinkle as well. Alex, what do you think? Bruins, Habs.
So I did grab the first period over last night. I got minus $1.30. That has moved now significantly. I'm seeing as high as $1.45, $1.50 at one book. So wait live and grab a better price with that adjusted. You can also do that with the full game total. I'm just sticking with the first period over as far as totals go. And then I did grab the draw. You can get that as high as plus 340 now. It's a better price than what I got last night at plus 325.
All right, good stuff. Ryan, anything here? Boston, Montreal.
Yeah, I got the first period over before it moved as well. Obviously, Montreal gave up 7 to Dallas last game. They got shut out. So look for them to, have a big bounce back game, a big response. Obviously, no one likes getting, embarrassed on home ice. So all I have is the first period over for this one. I really like that in this game.
All right, good stuff indeed. By the way, I'm just noticing on Otto's chart, Chris's chart there, Chris Otto, that 5 straight first period overs for Tampa Bay. I think that might be on the card because of that. We'll see. I'm still waiting on the lineups, but that is probably what I'm most likely to be moving on if once I get the lineup confirmations in that Tampa Bay, Florida game, that first period over. Lightning, 5 straight first period overs for them entering today. As far as props go for Montreal and Boston, 3-game goal streak for Pastny. I mean, he's only plus 130, but he's the one guy you can pretty much count on most games, every game for the Boston Bruins to find the back of the net. Maybe Geeky as well for the Bruins. Husnadinov is up on that top line the last few games, so maybe look as far as him. Steves with Zacha and Arvidsson is not getting priced the same on that second line as Zacha and Arvidsson, so there's probably value there. For Montreal, Oliver Kapanen, I've always said that about him, that he's probably worth a shot here tonight. You would think this has got to be a night where if they're going to get the offense going, you need your big boys to step up. That would be Caulfield, Suzuki, and Slavkovsky. So we'll see if they can get things rolling here for Montreal. That's a good point, though, by Aaron. You're right. The physical, heavy teams have given Montreal some problems. LA especially, you could see it. Dallas was just a bad game. I don't think Dallas is as much a heavy team, but you could tell they struggled defensively in that game. We'll see if they can bounce back. They don't want to have 3 bad home games in a row, so I expect a good effort here from Montreal tonight. And like I said, now that Boston finally lost a game to snap their win streak, maybe they start to slide back a little bit. All right, New Jersey and Washington. We've got Washington minus 150, minus 160 in some spots here as home favorites. The total here sitting at 5.5, pretty much across the board in this one. Washington, not at all do I want them at this price. I mean, there's certain spots I like Washington in, like usually when they're closer to even money or an underdog. I took them against Florida. It was kind of disappointing the way they played in that game. Very disappointing for Logan Thompson. Might have been his worst game of the year for the Washington Capitals, and he hasn't had many bad ones. But he will be back in net for a chance at redemption. John Carlson, day-to-day game-time decision with an upper body injury. Still without Pierre-Luc Dubois. I think a big reason, too, Washington's laying a sizable number is because of the injuries mounting for the New Jersey. Jack Hughes with the freak accident, unbelievable, crazy story. Sliced his hand at a team dinner. Incredible, crazy freak injury for Jack Hughes. And now he's out who knows how long for the New Jersey Devils. Dougie Hamilton out on the blue line. You're already missing, obviously, Brett Pesce on the blue line. Connor Brown is on IR. Cody Glass repair, Cody Glass replace. He's day-to-day as well for the New Jersey Devils. So that's the issue, right? I mean, it's a good price with New Jersey, but we've seen this before with New Jersey. Jack Hughes goes out. It's a little more unsteady what we get from this hockey team. I don't have this would be a Jonathan Davis research assignment if he's there. I don't know if he is. I don't think I've seen him in the chat, but get him on the assignment. The record last year for New Jersey when Jack Hughes didn't play, I guarantee it was a losing record. I guarantee it. They did not play great without Jack Hughes in the lineup. So I don't think I'm going to be involved in this game. I don't want Washington at this price. New Jersey is appealing at this price, but with the injuries and no Jack Hughes, I'm not sure I like it. I do like the draw. Have to bet the draw here simply because the Devils are just going crazy as far as consecutive games going past regulation. 4 in a row for the New Jersey Devils have gone past regulation. So we'll ride that draw streak that the Devils have going on right now as they might try to make it 5 in a row for them that go beyond regulation. What do you think here, Alex? Devils, Capitals.
I mean, there is a little bit of irony to the fact that Jack Hughes cut his hand at a steakhouse called Chicago Cut Steakhouse. It's unfortunate. Weird things happen. But like you said, the Devils they're just getting bumped up and bruised right now, and they've been weathering the storm despite it. They've been taking these games overtime. Like you said, 4 in a row. So that is the one thing I did play. I got plus 330 with the draw, but this is one that that's really kind of the only thing I came to conclusion to. It's not my favorite draw, so I played this one a little bit smaller than some of the others on the card tonight.
It's crazy. This has been a huge over series, but I don't see it tonight. Tonight, I'd be leery of betting the over. And usually when I see series history like this, 7-3 to the over, the last 10 Devils Capitals, I ride it. And I was on some of those overs last year, but Washington, after getting bombed by Florida, 6 goals they gave up in that game to the Panthers. Thompson looking for a bounce-back game. No Jack Hughes, which greatly hurts the Devils offensively. I could see this being low scoring, so I'm off the total. What do you think here, Ryan? New Jersey, Washington.
Not a ton in this game for me. I'm on the first period over minus 125. And then as well, I will be on that draw with a small sprinkle on that as well. I could see this one getting overtime. So those are the only two things for me in terms of this game. Obviously, I like Hughes props a lot, but he's not playing tonight. So nothing in this one.
All right, good stuff indeed. Sorry, I'm watching this Notre Dame Pitt game. Pitt almost had a pick 6. They almost returned it for a touchdown. So, but they're in the red zone now. That's a crazy game. There's been crazy plays and turnovers and big plays, and it's been a wild start there in Pitt. For those of you into college football, back to hockey. The draw I like here in this game. As far as New Jersey and Washington is concerned. As far as player props in this game, I'm riding the hot hand with Brandon Duhaime. 3 games in a row with a goal, and you're still getting plus 750 for him to find the back of the net. And hasn't he scored the first goal in a couple of these times when he scored 2? I mean, it's very unlikely it would happen again that he scores the first goal of the game, but crazier things have happened, and he's done it multiple times now. So Brandon Duhaime for certainly anytime goal scorer, plus 750 is the best.
You get plus 3,500 for him to score the first goal of the game tonight. Just saying.
Hey, it happened the other night, against the Florida Panthers. So, like I said, be interesting to see if he's able to get the first goal of the game here in this matchup between the Devils and Capitals. So that's definitely the goal prop I'm going to sprinkle on. Simone Nemec has scored in back-to-back games. I'll sprinkle on 10-1. He'll shoot the puck more now. He should look to shoot the puck more now. With no Jack Hughes, you need more offense from the blue line, in my opinion, and you need your defensemen to be a little more active and aggressive. So Simone Nemec, who had that just phenomenal game against the Chicago Blackhawks, the hat trick and the overtime game winner, maybe a sprinkle for him to find the back of the net as well, might be worth a look. Again, with the Gritschick and Mercer with Hischier, looks to be the top line tonight, so there's probably value on those two guys as well, playing with Nico Hischier on the top line. I'd look at probably Wilson, Protas, for Washington. And maybe this Justin Sourdif, who is on the third line, scored for Washington last game into the lineup and made an impact. So might be something to consider there on the capital side of things as far as props. All right, next up, as we continue along here, we've got, here we go, Toronto and Chicago, the other original 6 matchup taking place tonight on Hockey Night in Canada. We've got Toronto minus 125 road favorites, 6 the total. This is also why it's a 7 Eastern start in Chicago. They did it for Canadian television for Hockey Night in Canada. So that's why it starts at this time. We've got Toronto minus 125 road favorites, 6 the total here in this game. It's the best damn streak in hockey. You know what I'm doing. It's actually an over by Fecta because Toronto now is on a first period over streak too, but full game over as well. My fear always with the Chicago games over the total with Spencer Knight in net, and I think he's likely going to be in net. He was in the starters crease this morning at the morning skate, is that he's always capable of shutting it down. But, you know, Toronto's been scoring lately. And the one thing about Chicago is they played a little Russian roulette where they've been giving up shots every single game recently. So I don't think Knight's completely going to shut down the Leafs with the way they've been scoring lately, nor Chicago with the shots they've been allowing in recent games. So I do think we're going to see the Leafs find the back of the net, but I certainly think Chicago can find the back of the net. We know this Toronto defense has not been good. They miss Tanev dearly. They're still giving up goals. You know what's crazy? It felt like they played a better defensive game against LA. They focused more on defense finally. And at the end of the day, you look up and they still gave up, 35 shots and still gave up 4 goals and lost the game. That's where Toronto's at defensively. I mean, that's how low the confidence is with them as far as keeping the puck out of the net right now. So, yeah, 13-0 to the over for the Toronto Maple Leafs entering this game tonight. 13 straight Leaf games have gone over the total. Let's ride the wave, baby. First period over, full game over. This is going to be a little draw sprinkle for me here with Leafs and Blackhawks. Be careful taking the lead. Well, I don't want the Leafs anyway. You know, they're struggling. They're on a losing streak. They're laying a price on the road. I don't want that. I'd maybe even dabble in Chicago a little bit. Chicago has done well against Toronto in this building. The last few years, the Leafs have lost some absolute heartbreakers here at United Center in the Windy City. I remember there was an overtime loss. There's been this has not been a nice place for the Leafs over the years. They did win here last year, but that was the exception. Going back further, Chicago had won 3 of 4 here at United Center, and also a strong over series history. 7-3 to the over, and 3 straight games in Chicago between these teams have gone over the total as well. So just to recap, over by Fecta, draw, probably a little sprinkle for me on Chicago as well, plus 105. We might see Joe Woll back. Joe Woll's activated. It sounds like he's going to be getting the nod tonight for the Leafs. It sounded like that yesterday when I looked at when I heard the press conference. Stolarz is still day to day. I don't think we're going to see him. I don't think they're going to put Hildeby in. I think they want to get Joe Woll in there. His first game up from the American League and that conditioning stint he just had. And we like Joe Woll. We think he's a very good goalie, but is he going to be good for all this time out of the lineup, all this time away, and his first start back at the NHL level this season? You know, that remains to be, with a defense that's, let's be honest, I'll say the word, ass. A defense that's ass in front of Joe Woll right now. That could be a challenge for him here tonight. What do you think here, Alex? Toronto, Chicago.
It's funny. I was hoping that this was going to be an Arvid Soderblom start for the Blackhawks, which is something you probably never heard me say before and something I probably won't say too often. But the case in that was the fact that he actually played well against Toronto, a 2-2 record, had a save percentage of .911, a 2.46 goals against. But it's Spencer Knight in net, so felt comfortable with backing him, of course, as well. Grabbed plus 115 this morning before the line moved. I still like it at $1.05 or even money, so try and get plus money if you can. I also did grab the draw last night, plus 340. Of course, with the draw, we like overtime goal scorer sometimes. I'm going with Mr. Connor Bedard to get the game winner at 55-1. I know Terry likes that. He likes Bedard anytime goal. I also have a bargain bin coming from this game as well.
By the way, I forgot to mention this. A lot of moving parts. Obviously, we know who's out for Toronto. There's Stolarz is dated. Lawton, Matthews is still out. Tanev's still out. But for Chicago, Frank Nazar, day-to-day, but might return tonight. Game time decision, according to Jeff Blashill. Same thing for Tyler Bertuzzi. day to day. We'll have to wait and see tonight if he's in. I can tell you that there is one guy that is back tonight, and it's Andre Burakovsky. Andre Burakovsky will be back for Chicago tonight. So Burakovsky's in, Bertuzzi's a maybe, GTD, and Nazar is a maybe game time decision as well.
It seems most likely that it would be Bertuzzi back in and Nazar out. That's just the kind of just, but obviously got to wait for that. I'll be tweeting out once they hit the ice, like I said, 30 minutes before. So.
Yeah, I think there's definitely some truth to that. Nazar might be cautious with him and just wait a little bit longer to get him back in there. You're
understandable.
Right.
No reason to rush it. And Bertuzzi, you'd want Bertuzzi obviously playing this against his old team. So if you're looking from a prop perspective, and I would be looking toward Nazar.
One step ahead of me there. Oh, Rinzel's out. I didn't see that.
Rinzel's a healthy scratch. They're just giving him rest.
Scratch. Okay.
Yeah. So, but Nazar, once he gets back in the lineup, I wouldn't be rushed to just jump and grab him anytime goal. He's the guy I think who they're gonna work him back in. I wouldn't even be shocked if maybe he doesn't jump right back to the top 6 initially, and maybe take him to get a point or assist first. But like I said, no reason to rush anybody back with the way that this group has gelled without him so far.
Yeah, there's definitely truth to that. Like I said, be cautious. It's November 15th. Be cautious with your best players when it comes to injuries. All right, what do you think here in this one, Ryan? Leafs and Blackhawks.
I do like the first period over, so I will be on that. Kind of a tough spot. I feel like I lean Chicago here with the value. Don't really trust, someone said in the chat, but Toronto being this heavily favored is kind of, fishy. So I do like the first period over. I think Bedard has been hot as well, so I'm going to sprinkle Connor Bedard anytime goal plus 150. He's looked great. He looks like a man who's on a mission to try and make Team Canada. So I see him finding the back of the net tonight. And then I did check Twitter. Someone sent it, but Hughes out 8 weeks because of that cut. That's insane. It must have been pretty bad if, he had to have surgery and now he's going to miss 2 months. So just wanted to mention that is insane that he's going to miss 2 months. Just terrible luck. It must have been pretty serious. So that's all I have for this game, though.
Yeah, it's just you almost can't fathom it. That this has happened to Jack Hughes. There's no question in the New Jersey. And 8 weeks is now the confirmation that's what it looks like he'll be out for them. So just awful news. And obviously we know how important he is to that New Jersey team. No question. Prop wise in this game, I just wanted to mention that a couple of props that I definitely, Alex was one step ahead of me with Bertuzzi. If he's in, I'll be betting Tyler Bertuzzi against one of his old teams that'll find the back of the net. Bedard's on a 4-game goal streak. Burakovsky back in the lineup. He's on a 2-game goal streak. Bobby McMahon, I like. Me and Bobby McMahon, plus 320 for the Leafs. He's been really good for them lately. Got him going against LA the other night. So that's a goal prop I'm interested in. Nick Robertson's more of a goal scorer on the road than he is at home. So this could be one of those Nick Robertson nights as well. So those are a couple of props I'm eyeing in that game. Buffalo, Detroit. We've got Detroit minus 160, home favorites, 6.5 the total. A good bounce back, much needed win to stop the bleeding for the Detroit Red Wings, beating Anaheim 6-3 the other night, noting that they had several days off, chance to practice, and it looked like it because they played a much better game. The Red Wings beating the Ducks 6-3. They'll be looking to build on that here tonight against this absolutely struggling, reeling, decimated Buffalo team. Not only struggling to win games right now, but obviously battling a ton of injuries as well. Buffalo is very much depleted at the moment, and it continues to be that way. Currently entering tonight, missing Benson, Danforth, Kulik, Norris, Zucker, and that's been a problem. John Gibson confirmed in net for Detroit. Colton Ellis is projected for Buffalo, but we don't know yet who's going to be in net. It's really been all over the map for the Buffalo Sabres. It's like Russian roulette, musical chairs with the goaltending. You don't know who you're going to see in net because they got all 3 guys up there right now. UPL picked a pack of pickled peppers, Colton Ellis, and Alex Lyon. They're all up here with this Buffalo team right now, but none of it matters with the defense struggling. Look at this team during the 5-game losing streak, and the last 4 losses, they've given up 3, 6, 5, and 6. Not good for this Buffalo team. I'm going to take the Red Wings team total over 3.5 here. That's what I'm going to look at. I think that's the best way to approach it. I don't want them at minus 160, but trusting them to get 4 goals, I think they can get 4 against Buffalo right now. So Detroit team total over 3.5 is what I like. I lean to the full game over 6.5 too. I'll dabble in that, but I much prefer the team total. Just isolating Detroit here to score goals in this one. Alex, what do you think here? Buffalo, Detroit.
It could be Colton Ellis. It could be UPL. It could be Devin Levi. It could be Tom Barrasso. Take your pick. Dominic Hasek, Ryan Miller, Marty Baron. Any goal you want from Buffalo's history. It don't matter. Give me a Detroit team total over 3.5 minus $1.18 over at FanDuel.
There you go. Well said. I agree. What's another thing I wanted to say about this game? Yeah, Devin Levi, by the way, I don't know if anyone saw this. He had a horrible game down in Rochester against, I think it was Belleville, and the coach down there, I think his name's Michael Leone. He basically ripped him after the game, saying sometimes we need a save, and there was a clip that just went viral on hockey social media, hockey Twitter, and not going smoothly for Devin Levi down in the American Hockey League right now, getting pulled from games where he's given up 5 goals, and the coach saying needs a save from him. So, I mean, if you're a Buffalo Sabres fan, the anguish. It's almost inhumane for a fan base to go through the kind of torture, cruelty, sadness, anger, frustration, and futility that the Buffalo Sabres fan base has seen now for really the last 15 years, which is the last time they made the playoffs. And, of course, still without a Stanley Cup in the franchise's history. What do you think here in this one, Ryan? Buffalo, Detroit.
Yeah, I'm always pulling for Buffalo now that Donner's there, but I just
so
can't.
Sad and pathetic. I feel for these poor
I
fuckers.
just can't. I just can't back them even at plus 140. I do like the Wings. Minus 160, not great value, but I do like their team total over 3.5. So I'll be on that with you guys. I mean, Buffalo's given up goal after goal after goal. It feels like there's so many question marks there with their defensive game. So I don't like the minus 160 price. I prefer the team total. I think that's very doable for Detroit. Buffalo's they've just been in shambles, and you can't trust them even at a good price like that. So as much as I want to back them here, I just can't. I'm going with Detroit team total over 3.5 as well.
Good stuff. Yeah, Buffalo Sabres. They should put a banner up. In shambles since 2010. Really should be in shambles since 1970, whenever the friggin' franchise
Addison was asking, are they eliminated from the playoffs? They go, yes, but technically they aren't. So
yeah, feels like it. I feel too for our guy in the chat. We see him at most shows. I don't think we've seen him today. Real Deal Prime, man.
Shout out to Real Deal Prime.
I know he was kind of losing it in the chat the other day with this disgust and the anger and frustration that what he's seeing from the team. Butt of jokes, he says. Yeah, that's no way to live. But unfortunately, it's the existence of a Sabre fan right now. All right, Edmonton and Carolina. This should be a good one. I mean, there's a lot of good games on this Hockey Night in Canada because they split they have all these games on a bunch of different networks that carry Hockey Night in Canada on Saturday night. You're getting one network will have Boston, Montreal, one will have Toronto, Chicago, one will have Edmonton and Carolina, and they're all good games. They really are. Edmonton, Carolina is another one. We've got Carolina minus 120, home favorite, 6.5, the total in this game. Big news for Edmonton. Pretty sure Zach Hyman will make his season debut tonight. They have circled this game for him to make his return, and at least sounded that way a few days ago. So keep an eye on this. This might be a Zach Hyman return to the lineup tonight for the first time this year for the Edmonton Oilers. Stuart Skinner confirmed in net for the Oilers in this game tonight. It looks like Freddie Anderson, who's been day-to-day, remember he left the game against Washington with that headshot he took against the Capitals, had to go to concussion protocol. He didn't dress last night. Will he start tonight's the question? It won't be Kochetkov because they used Kochetkov last night against Vancouver. It's either going to be a returning and available Freddie Anderson or it's Brandon Bussey, more than likely, who's gotten a bunch of starts this year for the Carolina Hurricanes with it's been both goalies. There's been starts Bussey's made because Anderson's been out, and there's been starts he's made because Kochetkov's been out for the Carolina Hurricanes. So there's a chance it could be Bussey here tonight. Again, our friend from Raleigh, who's on the show on Thursdays, David, has pointed it out. They're playing much faster. You see it last night. What a pace game that was. Vancouver and Carolina, up and down, up and down. When Carolina's got their defense in order, they don't play that way usually, but they're playing that way now. I think Rod Brindamore knows, got to outscore our defensive concerns right now. with this team. So this is another one where I kind of lean with overs here. May wait for a better number live. 6.5 might wait, take a chance that we get, a little bit at least of a slow start between these two teams. Worth noting, Carolina 7-3 to the over in their last 10 games. So they've started to pick it up as far as that's concerned. So I'll probably bet first period over and maybe wait a little bit, see if I get a better in-game number with the full game over here in this one between Edmonton and Carolina. So I'm on that and just want to confirm the recent results to make sure I like that. Yeah, we have to. I mean, what did we see here? 6 of the last 10 Oiler games have gone past regulation. Yeah, we got to sprinkle on the draw. Carolina went to overtime last night against Vancouver. So, yeah, the draw for me here as well. Alex, Oilers, Hurricanes.
I was going to say draw pregame, and then I'm waiting for the over by fact to end the game. Like I say, trying to grab a 6, trying to grab a little bit better adjusted price with that 1.5. But definitely liking the draw here. Like I said, Edmonton's been a team that's played tight. And especially if it's Bussy. Bussy's one of those kind of goalies that I feel like, he gives them a fair shake. And like I said, he's been able to fill in for whether it's Anderson or Kochetkov injured. Carolina having some balance there in goal. That's what's keeping them afloat. So nothing on the side pregame, just the draw. But then we'll be trying to look for a better adjusted number with the overs.
Yeah, like I said, Edmonton's been an over machine of late. East versus West. So, again, no team's going to be concerned that the other gets any points out of this game. So, yeah, it sets up well. The draw parameters definitely are there for this game. Ryan, what do you think here? Oilers, Hurricanes?
I like the Oilers here, actually. Plus 100. I think, especially if Zach Hyman comes back, it'll give them a little bit of a boost. So I know Carolina played last night. Not sure what their record is on back-to-backs, but even teams that have good records playing on back-to-backs at that high of a level it's hard on the body. It's hard mentally. So I like the Oilers here, especially if Hyman's back, they're rested. So give me the plus 100 with the Oilers.
All right, plus 100 with that. I think it's definitely a scheduling spot advantage for Edmonton because Carolina played last night. Carolina's played a lot of games lately, as we've talked about. Edmonton, I think they've been a little bit more spaced out. This week they played a lot of games, but remember, they had 3 days off before they played Colorado at home. So there's been, I think, a little bit more of a downtime for them. Last 8 games following an overtime win have gone under, says Landon. Good stat there. If you follow into trends with that. But like I said, this is a team that's definitely changing their spots a bit. The defensive injuries, we're obviously seeing them play a quicker pace, score more goals, give up more goals without Jacob Slavin, who, of course, is the big one. Now they have Gostisbehere and Miller back on defense, but still Slavin's the big one. He's their best shutdown defenseman, and you're seeing the effect. There's definitely scoring and giving up more goals as well to compensate for it. All right, LA and Ottawa. We've got the Ottawa. It's pretty much even money here. Minus 110 on both sides. The total here, 5.5 in this game. Look, they got to give the Kings their due. It's been a nice road trip for them. They're playing well. And, kind of begrudging of me to say that. But, they're playing well. They beat Pittsburgh. They beat Montreal. They beat Toronto after falling behind 2-0 in that game. They deserved to beat Toronto. They outshot them, outchanced them heavily. And eventually the puck started to go in for them, and then they ended up winning in overtime. So 3 straight wins on this road trip. 8-1-2 overall on the season on the road for the Kings. So they played very good hockey here on the road this season. They've also played well against Ottawa, 7-2 in the last 9 meetings over the Ottawa Senators. But Ottawa back on track with a 5-3 win against Boston in their last game. We'll see how this plays out. I think I kind of want to bet Ottawa here, but I don't know if I want to step in front of the LA streak here on this road trip. But this is a pretty cheap price to me with Ottawa. But they have struggled with the Kings. Not sure I want to totally get in the Kings' way right now. But after the wins against Pittsburgh, Montreal, Toronto, maybe they feel a little puffed up and they're due to get pushed back down again a little bit. So I definitely lean Ottawa. Don't know if I'll bet it, but leaning in that direction. Ottawa's a team too that 8-2 to the first period over in recent games. We don't think of LA as an over team, but I will say this: 2 games in a row on this road trip, over 5.5 is cashed. And you go back further, 4 of their last 6 road games have gone over the total. So they've played a little bit more loose, and they've actually scored more goals on the road, believe it or not, than they have at home this year. So I'm going to do a Not my favorite over by Fecta, but I'm going to get in on an over by Fecta here. First period, full game. We're only talking 5.5 here right now with this game. So over by Fecta, and yes, the draw, of course. No question about it. East versus West. LA went to overtime against Toronto. Ottawa's been a draw machine. 5 of the last 7 Senators games have gone past regulation. And I think we have some head-to-head draw history, too. 2 of the last 3 meetings between these teams have gone past regulation as well. So another draw parameter that hits. So a draw for me here as well with LA, Ottawa. Alex, King Sens.
Yes, I'm on this over by Fecta, but I went heavier on the first period over, getting that at minus $1.10. Actually, at both of my minus $1.10 last night. Of course, we're on the draw, like I said, with Ottawa. They've been absolutely draw magnets. But like I said, including the history with the Kings and the Kings recently going to overtime as well. This is a great spot. This is even one we can take it a step further and go 3-3 correct score out of 60 minutes at plus 1,300 as well.
No doubt. Byfield to score I like. He's still in Ontario. He's an Ontario kid. Wouldn't surprise me to see him step up. He got the overtime winner against Toronto the other night, close to home. Fiala's on a 3-game goal streak, and he's streaky, and he's now scored in back-to-back games for the Kings. Let's rock with the Fogue Daddy, Warren Foegele, for the LA Kings. He's now scored in back-to-back games. So LA at that price, plus 500 with Foegele. I think that's definitely worth a look. For Ottawa, Parlay Pinto, with that newly minted contract, I think we could see him find the back of the net. I'm going to give Amadio one more chance. He's now not scored in back-to-back games. If he doesn't score tonight, we'll probably lay off for a bit. What do you think here, Ryan? Los Angeles, Ottawa.
I don't hate the draw on this one, but I don't have anything in terms of sides or totals pregame. I'm going to sprinkle a fun parlay. Shane Pinto anytime with Alex Laferriere. Anytime I see it around plus 1,400. They're good buddies. They grew up together. So just throwing that together for a goal scoring parlay.
All right, there we go. Good stuff. All right, as we continue along here, Vegas Golden Knights, St. Louis Blues. Got Vegas here minus 150. Road favorites here in St. Louis. The total here 6 across the board. I don't want Vegas right now. I don't. They're not playing great. That was a bad homestand for them. They're not winning games right now. And laying minus 150 on the road, no thank you. Not interested as far as Vegas is concerned at this price. That being said, as much as it's been a struggle for the Vegas Golden Knights at home, sometimes when you're not playing good and not playing well, you get on the road, you kind of get away, you bond together as a team, and sometimes that's when you come together and you start playing better hockey. So maybe that does happen here for Vegas tonight, after the disappointing homestand, which ended with another disappointing loss, 4-3 against the New York Islanders the other night. Vegas is just 1-5 in their last 6 games. We'll see how they fare here. 4 straight losses. But St. Louis, typical St. Louis last night. You had multiple goal leads in that game last night. Couldn't bring it home. You end up losing in a shootout 6-5 to the Philadelphia Flyers. We'll see how this one plays out. The only thing I have here in this game is, look, Vegas has been a first period over team all year, 11-5 for the full season to the first period over. So I think it's one of these situations where, like I said, first period over I'm interested in. I don't know about full game over, but yeah, first period over I'm interested in here. And I'll sprinkle, not my favorite draw, but we've started to see some draws from both teams. Some history between these teams of going to overtime as well, head-to-head. So a draw here for me as well. Alex, Vegas, St. Louis.
This one did not make my card with the draw, but like I said, there has been a little bit of a history, so it's one where I will be watching. Maybe I'll grab something in-game, but what I do like is that first period over, I grabbed that last night. Minus $1.20 with the over 1.5.
There you go. First period over for Alex here. Ryan, what do you think? Vegas, St. Louis.
Yeah, this game, I don't love this game. I mean, my initial thought would be Vegas, but not at the minus 150 price. So this is, in general, a pass for me.
Yeah, I don't know how people would be shocked by that. Mitch Marner got walked by J.G. Pajot on that overtime goal. Of course he did. That's what happens to Mitch Marner half the time. Yeah, I mean, see, Toronto Maple Leaf fans know all about that. So, yeah, that's what you get. And, yeah, the Mitch Marner honeymoon period might be ending because his offense has been sporadic lately, and we're starting to see some typical Mitch Marner, not always adept enough away from that puck. And we're starting to see that for the Vegas Golden Knights. But like I said, that is an interesting game. As far as goaltenders are concerned, it's expected to be Joel Hofer for St. Louis. And, it's been a dicey season for him. And Akira Schmid still projected to be the netminder for the Vegas Golden Knights, with Aiden Hill still on IR and still rocking with Akira Schmid. I don't think they're going to give Lindbaum a chance unless they absolutely have to. Holloway, absolutely. He's getting it rolling. I know, they're still having a hard time winning games, but Dylan Holloway's starting to put the puck in the net. So absolutely, Dylan Holloway, goal prop. Very much interested in that. And you can find it as good as plus 310 at FanDuel and BetMGM. So definitely liking the goal prop there for Dylan Holloway for the St. Louis Blues in that game. For Vegas, I'd look at close shave Barbashev with Eichel and Marner. And I'm going to give Braden Bowman another shot. Still going to get looks, still going to play on the power play. It looks like Braden Bowman, after making his NHL debut the other night, will take another shot with him there as far as a goal prop tonight for the Golden Knights. All right, Philadelphia Flyers and Ryan's Dallas Stars. We've got the Dallas Stars minus 200, home favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. Dallas returning home from that Eastern Canadian sojourn through Ottawa and Montreal, where they ended up winning in overtime against the Sens and thumping the Montreal Canadiens 7-0 in their last game. Now return home to face the Flyers. We'll see how they fare. Interesting to note that Dallas 9-1 in the last 10 versus Philadelphia. So they've certainly played well against the Flyers over the years. We'll see if that continues. Tricky spot for the Flyers. They had to play a game that went past regulation last night against St. Louis. They get the comeback win, though, in a shootout 6-5. This may not be an easy spot for Philadelphia to bounce back. And Dallas does have, obviously, a little bit of a rest advantage here. And Dallas playing well. 4 straight wins, 5 of 6. I don't know. Something tells me Philly's going to be in this game, though, start to finish. I'm tempted by the plus 170, even on a back-to-back with this Flyers team, because I've seen this before from Dallas. You feel good. You come home off a couple of good road games, and sometimes you shit the bed. You lay an egg coming back home. And Philly's just one of these gutsy, they don't. It's not always pretty. There's games they don't score goals. There's games that, you have Ersson last night kind of struggle to keep the puck out. But this team is full of heart and character, and they play hard, for 60 minutes. We've seen that out of Rick Tockett's team this year. Jake Ottinger, by the way, is confirmed in net here for the Dallas Stars in this game. Something to point out there. And, of course, for Philadelphia, we should see Dan Vladar get the start, obviously, with this being a back-to-back situation here for the Philadelphia Flyers. So we should see Dan Vladar in net in this one. I'm leaning Philly, but I like this draw quite a bit. Philadelphia has been a draw machine lately. 3 straight games for them have gone past regulation. 4 of the last 5 as well have gone past regulation. So I think there's a chance we see that continue. And the game in Dallas last year, head-to-head, Flyers versus Stars, last March went to overtime here in this building. So I really like the draw. Lean maybe just a sprinkle on the Flyers, and that's what I'm looking at here in this game. Alex, what do you think, Flyers Stars?
One of the first things I bet last night was the draw here at plus 350. Like I said, we've seen incredible OT runs with both these teams. And like I said, I've seen the last meeting with these two go past regulation as well. But that was a great price.
All right, good stuff. Ryan, what do you think here? I know you've been impressed with the Stars lately, but what do you see for them here tonight hosting the Flyers?
Yeah, I think if anything, you have to take the Flyers. They're at, I think it was plus 180 range, plus 185. If you were to take Dallas in any way, I think taking them to win from behind at any point. DraftKings has that at plus 250 for them. They, outside of last game, they've been a team that likes to get in a 2-0 hole at times. For whatever reason, they find ways to win, find ways to get points. They've been incredibly frustrating lately. I actually bet them to miss the playoffs a couple weeks ago because Ottinger hasn't been good. Dallas hasn't. I just don't think they have the same forward depth, but for whatever reason, they find ways to win. They find ways to get points. I don't understand it. I think last game was possibly the first, maybe 2 games this year, 3 games this year, they looked good. The rest, I don't think they've looked good at all. So Philly, if anything here, there are a lot of good props, though. I know Wyatt Johnson has been red hot. I believe Dallas's home power play is first in the league. They're operating at like 45% or something absurd at American Airlines Center. So looking at any of those power play points, I know Miro's been getting assists on the power play. So really any of those power play points, Miro's plus 120 or Mikko's plus 120, Robo's plus 140, Wyatt plus 150. So really look for their power play to stay hot at American Airlines Center. But just for whatever reason, I don't know, Ottinger's been kind of off this year. I don't think Dallas has looked great. So I'm taking a small shot with plus 185 on Philadelphia. It would be very Dallas Stars to score 7 against a good team like Montreal, and then just come back and shit the bed against Philadelphia. So Philadelphia or nothing here, as well as some of those point props, power play props with guys like Wyatt and Mikko that have been really good lately, but nothing totals or team totals in terms of Dallas, because they've just been way too inconsistent for me.
Yeah, that's fair. And like I said, this spot troubles me for Dallas, but they are playing well. Maybe they keep it rolling. And Philly is on a back-to-back, but you're right. I've seen instances where Dallas in this spot doesn't always get it done. And we'll see if they can avoid that here tonight in this game. Total, I'm not involved here. I think Philly, too, is going to want to play a much tighter game after what we saw last night. That for a guy like Rick Tocchet, especially, that was far too much up and down pond hockey for his liking last night against the St. Louis Blues. So I think Philly will be looking to tighten things up a little bit here tonight. As far as props, you mentioned a bunch of them on the Dallas side that might be worth a look. For me with Philadelphia, we talked about Mishkov did not score last night, but still value there with him, in my opinion, on the top line. All right, Winnipeg and Calgary. We've got Winnipeg minus 135, road favorites, and the total here sitting at 5.5 across the board in this game. First of all, I don't want Calgary, but I'm not overly impressed with what I've seen lately from the Jets, to be quite honest with you. I mean, that's a troubling loss the other night against Seattle. That's supposed to be your bread and butter, bringing home a lead in the third period. When you've been at your best, you've been locking things down, and that hasn't been happening at times for the Winnipeg Jets. 1-4 in their last 5 games, all on this road trip, 5-game road trip so far. 1-4 on this road trip to this point. So, like I said, it's not been overly tremendous here from the Winnipeg Jets here on this road trip. So, like I said, I'm not rushing to lay minus 135 with Winnipeg. Calgary's off one of their more complete performances. They were dominant against San Jose, but the problem with Calgary is you outshoot San Jose 36-17. You're all over them. You're in the offensive zone most of the game. And that game is 1-0 late, and you need an empty net goal to salt it away. That's the problem with Calgary. When they dominate a game, it's still a stress fest for them to bring it home into the win column. And we saw that again against San Jose. So this is a game where, there's not many passes on the board, but pregame not involved here. Side or total in this game. I could only lean under with Calgary right now. They're the biggest under team. There's not many true blue dead nuts under teams right now in the NHL, but Calgary's one of them. Because Wolf has started to play better. They are capable defensively, and they just have a hard time scoring. 36 shots and could only muster 1 non-empty net goal against San Jose, despite all that territorial offensive zone dominance for them in that game. So lean under, nothing pregame. Alex, Jets Flames.
This is more likely going to be a pass. I thought about sprinkling the draw here. I saw plus 330, but like I said, and I'm not sure who confirmed for the Jets and net. He said you want to see maybe this could be a Comrie star, it could be a Hellebuck star, but like I said, Calgary, just with their offensive roles, you have to look at under, draw, or pretty much fading them at this point.
That might be the way to go. Flames team total under. Addison, Philly Eagle Flyer have mentioned it in the chat. No doubt. We've said that before with Winnipeg. If you like Winnipeg to win, you don't love the price like I do here. When they win, they often keep teams below 3 goals. I know that's something we mentioned earlier this season, so I don't mind at all the look to Calgary team total under 2.5 here in this game, especially if you like the Jets. What do you think here, Ryan? Winnipeg, Calgary.
Yeah, I like Winnipeg on this spot. I think minus 135 is a decent value for them. So can't trust Calgary at all, even at home. Their offense has just, not been there this year. So I think if anything, like you guys said too, the under is a good look. But I'm on Winnipeg money line here. Might even look at regulation to try and get a better value. But that's all I have in sides and totals in this one.
All right, good stuff there. Yeah. By the way, now that I see it on Chris's chart, 4 straight first period overs for Winnipeg. I'll get involved with that. Small bet, but we'll get involved a little bit in that. The first period over with Winnipeg on a little bit of a streak to that regard. And you got to think after the loss to Seattle, start fast and then maybe park the bus with the lead if they are able to get it, and then it slows down after that. So
the way that these teams played, this may be a good game to go goal in first 5 minutes for insurance and then wait and try and get a better price in game for that first period over.
Yeah, that's definitely an approach to take potentially here as well. Not bad in case you'll be able to get a better line during the game. Here's a prop that I'm going to sprinkle on here, though, is Iafallo for Winnipeg. All of a sudden for him, back-to-back games with a goal for the Jets. And you can get him in that plus 500 range. So I'm liking that. Dustin Wolf is confirmed, by the way, for Calgary in this game to start. We just don't know yet who's going to be in between the pipes for the Winnipeg Jets. Again, I get the feeling this might be a calm restart, but again, we don't know that as of now. All right, final game, San Jose, Seattle. Seattle minus 150 home favorites. Total here sitting at 6 across the board in this game. This is definitely one of these situations where, San Jose, you wonder if the loss, and they start to lose a couple, could they be about to do what Anaheim's done, where, Anaheim goes on a win streak. Now they've lost a couple. Maybe that's going to happen here for San Jose, coming off the loss to Calgary, where they just got dominated. They got flat out, they got curb stomped, even though they only lost 2-0. They were in their own zone the whole night, no question. But I like them here in this spot at this price, plus 130. And this is more so I don't know if I trust Seattle to win 2 in a row. It's been a while, I believe, since Seattle has won 2 in a row. Credit to them. They had a good third period against Winnipeg the other night. But this Seattle team, has been certainly up and down. Yeah, I'm just looking at it now. They're 0-3, their last 3 off a win going into this game tonight. And the draw might be worth a look here, too. San Jose, 4 of their last 10 have gone past regulation. 4 of the last 7, 4 of the last 8, rather, for Seattle have gone past regulation. So we're going to go dog and draw here. San Jose plus 130, a little bit on the draw here as well. Alex, Sharks, Kraken.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I like the dog a little bit more here, but I will sprinkle a bit on the draw as well, considering that history. And like I said, I think this is a good spot to back San Jose. I don't think they're going to go on in the tank, pardon the pun, right now. And like I said, Seattle's a team I don't trust off of a big win, an upset win against a much better Winnipeg team. He said this is not a team that we can trust to string 2-3 in a row. I don't see it here. So give me the Sharks and a sprinkle on the draw.
Sprinkle on the over by Fecta for me here, too, for 2 reasons. It's a series history, very, very strong to the over with these 2 teams. And we got the old, it hasn't been we've kind of abandoned it, and as far as betting it blindly. But San Jose off a shutout loss, and we know the off a shutout loss angle last year was pretty good for first period over, full game over for teams in the next game after a shutout loss. So, yeah, we'll dabble in the first period over and the full game over, especially because, the full game over is only 5.5 here in this game. And by the way, as far as goaltend, and that's another factor too, we've got Joey Daccord on IR, which means you're getting one of either Philip Grubauer or Matt Murray in net for the Kraken. I don't trust either guy. And I know Matt Murray's actually been solid in a couple of his starts so far, but long term, I don't trust him. So there's another plus, I think, for looking at a first period and or full game over here in this game. Ryan, last game, what do you think? Anything you like here? San Jose, Seattle.
Nope. I had the same thoughts as you guys. I'm going to sprinkle the draw, but I do like San Jose here at plus 130. Much like Chicago, they're fun to watch whether they win or lose. They have some of that young talent that's, fast-paced, high-flying offense. So give me San Jose here. I know, like you mentioned, Decord's out. Seattle hasn't been great. They win a game, then they lose 2. So just don't trust them even off a win like that. So give me the Sharks plus 130 and then a sprinkle on the draw as well.
This is starting to become a concern, and maybe the Rangers kind of saw this with him before they traded him, but another Capo Caco injury. He left the game against Winnipeg the other night, day-to-day now, and we'll see if he suits up tonight for the Seattle Kraken, but obviously not what they want to see going into this game tonight. Like I said, as far as goal props here are concerned, let me just see here. You know what? He's had a real rough offensive season, but he's scored multiple times against San Jose, and this was a franchise his late father played for later on in his career. I think I'm going to go Mason Marchment tonight. I don't know why I feel that way, but yeah, Brian played for the Sharks for a little bit later in his career, but I don't know. Mason Marchment might be time, and looks like Mason Marchment might be with Matty Beniers and Eberle tonight, so he's certainly going to get opportunity to put the puck in the net, get more minutes, and get more opportunities. So like I said, it hasn't been a scintillating offensive season for Mason Marchment compared to what he was doing in Dallas the last couple of years, but plus 340. And I feel like he might be live to put the puck in the net here tonight for them in this game. All right, great stuff. Great Saturday card. Trust me, you're going to want to sign up if you haven't already to patreon.com, because the card for me is going to be big. And I know I've rambled on about a bunch of bets in all these games, and it's hard to keep track of all of what I've said. You got to rewind to hear about it. Don't put yourself through that torture. Just go to the Patreon page later, be a member, and every bet I place will be there on the card for Patreon members. So make sure you get on board if you haven't already. Also, check out wizardsportspicks.com. Big card going up on the website today. NHL and college football, the focus for me today with the premium picks. So make sure you check that out. It's been a, like I said, profitable run on the website, 63-53 all sports streak, 21-14 NHL streak, 32-25 NFL and college football run. So make sure you check it out. And all the great handicappers. It's a great roster on the website. I'm there. Alex B. Smith is there. Matt Robinson's there. Make sure you check it out, wizardsportspicks.com. And I'll be doing the Sunday Beyond the Line show tomorrow. Check that out on the Wizard Sports Picks YouTube channel. And as I mentioned, patreon.com/iceguys, just $10 per month. Goalie charts, totals charts, all the bonus content. We have a live betcast exclusive to Patreon members on the way later this month. So make sure you get on board before that. And of course, our daily betting card, sides, totals, player props posted each and every single day on the Patreon page. So make sure you check that out. And again, $10 per month. Your subscription goes a long way to supporting the show. Patreon.com/iceguys.
And also check out the Ice Guys store at iceguys.myspreadshop.com. You've got 2 days left to save 20% off of all orders that you make. Hit the redeem button at the top of the page, add your items to your cart, and 20% will be taken off at checkout. We've got the new bargain bin logo. We've got the draw season merch. We've got the Get Franked merch, the regular classic logo that I'm wearing. You can get all of that right now and save 20% off. 2 days remaining on that. That's right now at iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
All right, great stuff. Check it out. 2 days. Get on board with that great deal and the discount at the Ice Guys store. All right, bargain bin special of the night and best bets coming up right after we hear from our great Ice Guys sponsors.
Wizard Sports Picks, featuring the finest handicappers in the universe. Sharp insights, trusted picks, and relentless results. We strive to help you become consistent winners. This is Wizard Sports Picks.
Praise for yourself, we none of this. Kings and Queens shop.
Thanks to all our sponsors, including Royal Cannabis. Check out royalcannabisshop.com. 20% off using promo code ICEGUYS. All right, bargain bin special of the night. We cashed one last night. Yours truly, Emil Heineman for the New York Islanders. Gets at least one bargain bin in the win column for us for Friday. We'll see how we can add to it tonight. And by the way, before I go around the horn and ask everyone for their bargain bin special, shout out to Jonathan Davis for mentioning this. It's worth a sprint. It's not my bargain bin, but Jordan Spence, now with the Ottawa Senators, former member of the Los Angeles Kings. He's playing his old team tonight. And remember, he got treated shabbily down the stretch, not getting enough minutes. Numbnuts P-Brain, head coach there, Jim Miller, just didn't play that guy enough or as much as he should have. And it was kind of a disenchanting exit for him in L.A. I think he wouldn't mind sticking it to the Kings tonight. So, 10-1, Jordan Spence, as Energized says in the chat, and Jonathan Davis, I know, likes that. A shot with Jordan Spence to find the back of the net tonight for the Ottawa Senators. I'll take a shot with that. Again, it's not my bargain bin, but like I said, I do think it's worth a shot, no question. Well worth a sprinkle on that. All right, bargain bin special of the night. Alex, what do you got? Turn the mic on. Yeah.
All right, we got it now?
Gotcha.
Okay. All right. I'm having some issues, but if you guys can hear me, we're going with Chicago, Toronto. I've got a pair of Blackhawks that I'm backing right now, and these are both at decent prices within the bargain bin range. You get one at plus 310 and one at plus 320. We'll go with Ryan Green, anytime goal scorer. That's at plus 310. He's had some decent looks and some chances on that second line playing center. He's had some quality chances, and I think he can get one in tonight. Get him at plus 310. I'm also going with Ryan Donato, the artist formerly known as Elephant Hands. You can get him as high as plus 320 anytime goal scorer. So those are my two picks for tonight with the Hawks, Ryan Green and Ryan Donato. Hopefully both get goals for the Hawks against Toronto. My bargain bin special for Saturday night.
There we go. Ryan, Donato, and Green for the Chicago Blackhawks for bargain bin special of the night for Alex B. Smith. Ryan Robinson, what do you got for bargain bin special of the night?
Yeah, I've had some good luck with these. I've hit 2 of my last 3, I think, on the show with these. So I'm going first team goal scorer again. Give me Jason Robertson plus 510. He's a streaky guy, like a lot of goal scorers. He'll go 5 or 6 games without a goal, and then when the floodgates open, they open. So obviously 2 goals last game, a goal before that. He's feeling it now. He mentioned it in post game that once one goes in, you're feeling good. You're shooting it more, and good things happen. So give me Jason Robertson, first team goal for the Dallas Stars tonight, plus 510. That is my bargain bin tonight.
All right, there we go. All right, my bargain bin special of the night when it's all said and done. Let me just see. I had it up there. Hold on. There we go. All right, give me one sec here. We've got a couple screens freezing here on me. Yeah, technical issue. What else? Yeah, what else? Yeah, no doubt. But yeah, definitely as far as a bargain bin special of the night for me here tonight. Yeah, Dylan Holloway. There we go. Our guy. There we go. I was just waiting to see the current price. There we go. Yeah. Dylan Holloway plus 310. He's on a streak. He's bargain bin material worthy. Let's rock with him. Dylan Holloway plus 310 for the St. Louis Blues. We will roll with that for a bargain bin special of the night. Oh, you know what? I'm going to tack it on. It's a little, again, he's slumping. But I don't know. He's up on the second line, scored against this team in the past. Now with Beniers, Mason Marchment, I'm going to put that as a bargain bin too. Plus 340 for Seattle. So there you go. Mason Marchment plus 340. Dylan Holloway, St. Louis plus 310 for my 2 bargain bin specials for this Saturday night. All right, best bets. Alex, what do you like for best bet?
Yeah, let's go up to Canada's capital. We got Ottawa taking on LA, and I like the first period over in this spot. You can get as cheap as $1.10. With that first period over 1.5 with Kings and Sens. That's my Saturday best bet.
All right, first period over. Los Angeles, Ottawa. Best bet for Alex B. Smith. Ryan, best bet.
I'm taking similar to that. I'm going up to Canada as well. Give me Boston, Montreal, first period over. Montreal's off a shutout. Both teams have, high-powered offenses. So give me the first period over in that game is my best bet.
All right, there we go. First period over. Best bet for Ryan Robinson. And my best bet here for this Saturday NHL card. Yeah, let's keep it simple. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. 13 straight overs for the Leafs. Toronto, Chicago, over 6, minus 120. Minus 120 is the best price out there right now with that. Let's see if we can go 14 straight games now for the Leafs over the total. So Toronto, Chicago, over 6, minus 120 for my best bet here for this Saturday NHL card. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. Great Saturday show. Great Saturday card. Very much excited about it and looking forward to seeing how it plays out. Hit the like button on the way out. Reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week. Monday is a delayed start, but we're on Tuesday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Alex B. Smith and Ryan Robinson, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Saturday. Enjoy the games and good luck, and we'll be back with you on Sunday, noon Eastern, for another edition of the Ice Guys.